Good morning. Just a tad bit breezy today, but we're kind of lollygagging around. Got a late start. We're getting ready to break down, camp, hit the road. Richard will go over the route. I just wanted to say the Dalton Park campground. They have actually, from my understanding, they have two separate campgrounds. One is just for tent camping and the other one is for RVing. And so the tent camping one is just, okay, there's no one here but us. It's really nice. And I think that's why we're lollygagging around. It's just so quiet and peaceful and just beautiful here. Yeah, great place, great for an overnight stay, great if you want to stay longer. There are no showers, no electric. There's a bathroom with a sink and bear boxes and trash. And that's it. But great place to stay.
Okay, where are we? We're over here. We're at Dalton Park. And we're gonna get all dressed up, put all of our gear on and go a half mile.
To Brinegar Cabin.
Brinegar Cabin, yes. We're gonna go up there. And then from there, we're gonna go up past the page, where the page moves. And we're gonna come up to Mabry Mill, and there's a grist mill that's there, and we really want to check those out. Those are cool grist mills. And then from here, we're gonna make our way to Roanoke. And just an FYI, so far this is in year 3 of repair. Between 135 and I believe 121 in this area is closed because of a massive rock slide. It just wiped everything out. And there's 3, it's been closed now for 3 years, this section.
So we need to get on something else.
Yeah, so we're gonna pop off here before 135 or whatever and get on this 221 and take it into Roanoke. We need to re-up supplies and groceries and all that stuff. From there we'll go to the end from Roanoke.
Cool. 60 years. Wow. So Martin and Caroline Brinegar lived here on this homestead for 60 years. 125 acres, $200. What a deal. Brinegar family weren't famous or rich. He purchased this 125 acre farm for $200. Wow. 2 years later, he married his wife Caroline. He was 21 and she was 16. Wow. This house, this style of house is what they call a Clabbert house. It is not a log cabin. It's wood that they've chopped the trees down and taken it to a mill back in the late 1800s. It's really interesting that this is the only house on the parkway that is listed on the National Registry of Historic Places. And originally, when the parkway was being installed, any Clabbert house, they kind of equated it to like a red brick house nowadays, and they tore them all down. And the only reason that they kept this one up is because the owner, Caroline, who was still living here in her 70s, they wanted her to stay and continue to live here and give weaving lessons to the people on the parkway. So they left her house. Otherwise they would have just razzed it, and because it wasn't a log cabin, and they felt that people only wanted to come and see log cabins and not clapboard houses. But this is so cool. I'm glad they saved it. We rolled down the road from the Brinegar Cabin, and I just got to thinking, and so I had to have a stop because I have to get this out of my head. Because poor Caroline Brinegar didn't really have the best ending. Okay, so she was married at 16. She lived with her husband Martin for 60 years on that farm. All of a sudden, the Park Service shows up and says, hey, we're going to put this beautiful road in here, and we want to buy 81 acres of your property. We'll give you $1,000. And she goes, okay, with this stipulation, I want to stay in my cabin They agreed, but they gave her a stipulation, and they said, you can stay, but you are, I guess she was like the Yo-Yo Ma of weavers. I mean, she was like the grand poobah of,
she was just at it.
She knew how to weave. She was good at it. So they said, you can stay, but we want you to give weaving demonstrations to the park visitors. And for a second I was like, hold on, put the brakes on. Here is this 70-some-year-old woman and the park server. I think that's just a little cheeky, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Going, hey,
yeah,
woman, you need to work now.
Yeah, now go ahead and work. And then also, I kind of thought it was, you know, they gave her $1,000 when they knew that the property values were going to go up when they put the parkway on it.
Yeah, I think she, you know, rumor has it she was felt like she got a little fleeced and didn't get the full value for her money. What ended up happening is, so they both agreed, came to a resolution, and then all of a sudden, poor Carolyn's peaceful existence just was shattered when the construction crews showed up with heavy equipment and chopping
all this
trees
noise,
and all this noise. And you know, you could just almost see her little heart go, oh, you know, and she bailed. She said, I'm out of here. She went and lived with her daughter.
Went and lived with her daughter.
Never to come back and live in the cabin again. But there is a silver lining in all this, in that this cabin would not be here today had it not been for that relationship agreement initially, because in 1941, or around the time that they were cruising on through building that parkway around her house, those types of cabins were considered, you know,
yeah, they
were more
impressive.
modern than, and the park wanted log cabins, authentic 1800 log cabins, and so they were knocking these little cabins down left and right, and would have bulldozed hers down as well had not she made that initial agreement. That's the only one-of-a-kind cabin that we have on the parkway, because they razzed all the rest of them.
They did.
You as you drive, do you know I'm looking, and I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on, I put my feet up, and we just sing along, and I can't help but feeling, just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever. 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 I watch you as you sleep. You don't know I'm looking. With you everything's complete. Do you know how much I love you? I put your favorite song on just to wait.
So this originally was on the list of one of the many things I wanted to stop and do.
Yeah, but we didn't want to stop every half hour.
Yeah, and we crossed it off, but they had a picnic area and it was time for lunch, so we stopped, and we didn't realize we were stopping at the place where you can learn about wooden fences.
The different fence types.
So yeah, this is a twofer is what this was.
Yeah. But these are the most efficient fence.
The snake? What do they call this one?
This is the buck rail.
Interesting. So I bet you can't guess, but this is called a snake fence. This one here is your picket fence. And we have the post fence.
Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together?
I could see back in the day, if I was back here, I believe I would have something like this. Eddie was a jack of all trades. He was a blacksmith, he was a farmer, he was a woodworker, you name it. He sawed. He made this wheelhouse and ground corn for the neighbors. Created a sawmill and just.
So he's a jack of all trades.
He was a jack of all trades, and he built this for. That was industry back then.
Yeah.
This big wheel. See the gear in there going around?
Mm-hmm.
It's turning something inside that building.
So,
Look at that. So he's pulling it from two different places on the river.
oh, okay.
So he's bringing it here, which overflows into that.
Oh.
He's also taking it from over here and filling it in here. So if a lot of water comes in that way, then it's going to overflow that
Oh, yeah.
and flow into that river.
Yeah,
This would be his man shed.
no, it's a man cave.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's a shed. I get
Yeah.
it now. Wow.
This is the smithy.
Look at that.
You think about all the stuff that had to be made. Like literally everything. Nails had to be made. Pins. There was no Ace Hardware to
That's
go buy
true.
nails and screws.
That's true.
So see the buckets and nails up here? See them? See the nails in the little tin
Oh,
cans and the
yeah.
nails in the
Yeah.
big long nails for the fence and stuff. And those, that hook piece
Yeah.
that had to be forged and made in
Yeah.
fire over there. So I imagine Ed was a tall man, because if that's original, his anvil, that's up pretty high to be. I would be like
Swinging
this. I would be like this, banging on it, where you want to be. Wham, wham.
That's true. You can just see him escaping Lizzie, coming out here to his man cave, his man shed.
No, so there's a saw in there, and there's a mechanical. He's got a gate at the end of the water that's coming off the end of that water wheel. And if he's sawing a log and starts sawing it up, or stalling it, he could grab that lever, open up, and get more water and run more power, so he could spin that saw faster.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's what
cool.
he was doing.
That's really cool. I mean, you talk about.
Yeah,
maybe
he was
we
a.
need to go back to using water for.
He was a smart man, is what he was.
I noticed that they were saying one of his biggest challenges, which I wouldn't think would be a challenge, considering you're living out in the boonies and growing own your food, and there's no grocery stores.
Yeah,
But
everything's a challenge.
His biggest challenge was getting a consistent water source for his mill. I thought that was interesting.
And it's cool how you see they taken it from 2 or 3 different areas, and he made this slough to regulate how much water goes over the wheel.
Yes.
So if something slowed down or he needed more power, he could open a gate and let more water to run through it. So the guy was an engineering genius back in 1800s.
Yes.
Doing it all by yourself.
Yes.
Nobody's drawing it out.
I know, just doing
CAD
it.
drawings and stuff.
Yeah, no permits, no
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
Life was simpler and harder at the
And-
same time.
Yeah, and a tree could fall on those houses and they don't break.
Yeah.
Look at what we got today.
Yeah. But they did say, or we did find out that later in his years, Ed's health failed and he couldn't maintain the flues with the water, and so he got an 8 horsepower engine, right?
Back in its day.
And Lizzie took over the operations for a while.
Yeah. But 8 horsepower doesn't sound like much.
No, it doesn't.
But if you have it geared correctly, and it's the amount of torque that's needed.
Oh, okay.
So if you've got plenty of torque on an 8 horsepower engine, it could spin these heavy weighted wheels. It may take a minute to get it up to speed, but once it got up to speed, it would run all day long. Yes. Oh, the 45 miles an hour. Where have you been? just the cruise. I have to say, that is pretty amazing that there wasn't one road that we went on that seemed like it had a timed light in Roanoke. I mean, it was a major thoroughfare and literally stop at every single light. It was weird, but we made it.
Yep, here we are.
Here we are. We got 130 miles left of the parkway. We'll be done today.
Yes.
And pretty cool. We did 2 parkways in a row. That's pretty awesome, if you ask me.
Yes.
So looking at the weather, we're probably going to get wet a little bit, but it's moving so fast. So when I noticed it's moving so fast out that it may just skip. If we get wet, it's not going to be much. Do we want to put our gear on and then be hot and sweaty and not get very wet? Or go ahead and chance it and not put our gear on, and it rains cats and dogs, and then we have to put our gear on and we're soaking wet.
I know. We should have just flipped a coin is what we should have done. Richie, you can hear the thunder.
I know, I can hear that.
Is it coming?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think I think if we get it, it's going to be just a little tiny bit. We're just going to skirt it.
Oh, okay.
See it?
Yeah. Because up by the bikes.
Because that's 3 o'clock right there by the time. So here's it building up. And then now. So that's now, off in the distance. And then there's this little spot right there that may catch us at about 2:10 p.m. And
Okay.
it's 1:38.
Okay.
So if we stay here for a little bit, I think it'll miss us.
Well, we couldn't have found a uglier place to stay.
I know, it's beautiful right here. Look at this. Just look at this valley.
Look at that.
Isn't that beautiful?
That's gorgeous. The Appalachian Trail is right here. I'm standing on it. I'm so excited. This is so cool. Yeah, I want to hike it. Oh, can you imagine hiking it end to end? It's just absolutely beautiful. Can't believe I found the Appalachian Trail. It goes that way. Unfortunately, the bikes are that way. Yeah. Someday. All right. I almost didn't bring this. You know, it's like, do I really need it? But I'm glad I did. It's the rain cover to my Nelson rig bag. So I think I'm gonna need it today. I like how easy this just goes on. It just bop, and it's on. Everything's covered. Here's the things that we won't bring next time.
Okay, what are they?
We're not going to bring the cots, which are 2.
So far we haven't used them.
Yep, not at all. And I think we're going to leave the monster at home because we don't
What is a monster?
Oh.
Got a big monster we carry in our backpack. It's a stand that has foldable, bendable legs.
Yeah. So, let's go get wet. We pulled over, it's starting to rain a little bit more, and we thought we'd at least put our rain jacket on. And yeah, that's what's happening now. This is my Nelson rig jacket, and here's what I like about it is, I know it could go smaller, but it fits in a perfect spot, but it has this little sleeve that you just tuck it into. So you want to take it out, you open it up, out it pops, all stays together. So it doesn't have a separate storage bag that you have to keep track of. It's already designed in the jacket. I do not blend into the scenery.
Nope, you are a high vis.
catching the dirt and water from the front tire.
Yeah. So you put your jacket on, but not your pants.
Well, I wasn't worried about that. I wasn't worried too much about that. My button broke on my vest though.
Aww.
Got him?
Yep.
We made it. Made it to the other end. Okay, we made it to mile marker 0.
We did it.
We did it from one end to the other.
Yeah, we did it backwards. We went from 469 to 0.
To 0.
Do
Cheers.
it either way. So Richard asked me what I thought now that we just finished the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Yeah.
So I told him, I said, I hear a lot of traffic noise that way. I want to go that way.
It is, if you think about it. We've been from Natchez, Mississippi, all the way to Virginia, and I would say 80% of it has been on Parkway,
Yes.
National Park Parkway.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome. With no.
And it really sets you back in time and slows you down.
I know.
It's amazing.
I'm scared to go that way.
I know.
I'm scared to go into Waynesboro. Okay, I have a soap making recipe for you that I just learned. So if things get really tough out there, we can all make soap and at least stay clean. Take 1 hollow log ash hopper filled with ashes, filter water through the ashes to produce lye, add some old fat that you have laying around somewhere to the lye solution, and boil in an iron pot. Result, homemade soap. Here's your pot. You might want to get rid of the mosquito larvae.